Justice is the only secure foundation of any form of government or state. Today on Don't Talk TV, I want to just speak briefly on this philosophical concept. Hello, my name is Nicholas Wansbutter. I'm a criminal defense lawyer in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to Don't Talk TV. So as I mentioned last week in my video, I've had to stop taking new clients for a time because I'm just so overwhelmed with all of the calls and all of the requests for assistance that I'm receiving. I certainly didn't want to stop taking clients. I want to help as many people as I can, but as I said last week, I realized I was getting to a point where I could not give people the best representation and the most professional representation that I could, so I had to take this step. I'm also going to have to stop doing 2 videos of Don't Talk TV per week. It simply takes too long to do that. So we'll be going back to videos every Wednesday, although I'll do the occasional Monday video. For example, when I do movie reviews, I intend to still keep those on Mondays. It'll probably just be once, maybe twice per month that we'll have a Monday episode. So with that said, and today being a Monday and only having very little time to record this, I actually just got out of court a few minutes ago and it's almost 5 o'clock. And if you're watching this video, it's 6:45 that it's gone live. I just want to get a little bit philosophical versus the nuts and bolts of law that I generally deal with. And to do that, I want to have a look at a sermon given by a Catholic bishop in Nazi Germany in 1941. The bishop in question is Clemens August Graf von Galen, the Archbishop of Munster. He was made the Archbishop of Munster in 1933, just a few months after the Nazis rose to power, and he died in 1946, shortly after the Nazi regime fell. So his career as a bishop was really linked with the rise and fall of the Third Reich. He was a very conservative Catholic bishop, so the Nazis thought he was going to be on their side when he was appointed as the Bishop of Munster because he'd been very openly anti-communist. However, when the Nazis started oppressing people, he became very outspoken against them as well. So the sermon that I want to quote is from July the 13th, 1941. It was given shortly after the Allies carpet-bombed Munster, purposely targeting civilian structures, including the cathedral and the bishop's palace. But shortly after that, the Gestapo kicked some nuns, monks, and priests out of buildings and seized them for the Nazi state. So Archbishop von Galen, very concerned about these injustices, gave a sermon on justice. So let me give you the quote that I think is the most important section of this sermon, and which still applies today, 80 years later. So, recalling the imprisonment of many innocent people without the opportunity of defense and without a court sentence, the Archbishop said this, quote, "All these things cause me today to recall publicly the old truth. Justitia est fundamentum regnorum. Justice is the only secure foundation of every form of government. The right to live, to be unmolested, the right to liberty is an indispensable part of every ordered community life. Certainly, the state is justified in limiting this right of its citizens by way of punishment, but this authority the state only has vis-a-vis offenders against the law whose guilt can be proved by means of impartial legal proceedings. The state which oversteps this divinely willed limit and allows or causes the punishment of innocent people undermines its own authority and every regard for its sovereignty in the minds of the citizens. Unfortunately, during the last few years, we have repeatedly had to observe that more or less heavy penalties, mostly in the form of deprivation of liberty, were imposed without any crime having been proved against the victims by a regular legal procedure, and without their being given the opportunity to defend their rights or to prove their innocence." Now, as I say, these words apply more than ever to today's situation. And one of the biggest concerns I have about the whole COVID-19 situation is this erosion of the principle of justice. And just quickly, what is justice? The virtue of justice is to render to each and to all that which belongs to them. And that which belongs to every Canadian are, among other things, the rights that are guaranteed in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and that right to a fair trial, and the things that Archbishop von Galen spoke about in his sermon. This is something that's being trampled. Now, it's in the name of public safety and protecting people from a disease. But an ends justifies the means mentality, which I warned about months and months ago, is very dangerous for society, and we keep sliding more and more. Now, we're not in the middle of a lockdown or a stay-at-home order right now, but I would suggest that stay-at-home orders are a form of imprisonment or punishment without judicial process. Involuntarily quarantining people in concentration camps like they're doing in Saskatchewan, as I referenced in last week's episode, is another form of punishment without due process. Canadians seem to be tolerating this erosion of rights and lack of due process, again, because of fear of a disease and the desire for public safety. Well, these are the sorts of things that Nazi Germany promoted as well. I'm not saying Canada is Nazi Germany. What I'm saying is that one can very quickly find oneself in a totalitarian regime when justice is undermined, for that very reason that Archbishop von Gallen said justice is fundamental. It's the only secure foundation for any state or society. And if we lose that justice, in my view, society is going to start unraveling very quickly. It's something we need to hold on. It's something we need to fight for in any way we can. And speaking of fighting for justice, I think it's worth pointing out just very quickly that today the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms issued a press release indicating that they have now filed a constitutional challenge against Ontario's vaccine passport system. So if you're concerned about the vaccine passport system, you live in Ontario, I recommend you check out the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, maybe reach out to them, see if you can be added to that class action suit, see what you can do to assist with that. And I'm certain that they're going to need money to pay for the legal experts and the lawyers and the medical experts to move forward with this case in a successful way. So I encourage you to consider that as well. This video is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, contact a lawyer. You can call another lawyer or myself. As I say, I can't currently take new clients, but maybe you're watching this video a few months from now when I'm back to taking clients. So website and 1855 number listed below. If there's a show topic you'd like to see me cover, please keep the recommendations coming, either by sending an email to the email address below or leaving a comment in the comments section. And if you found this video at all interesting, helpful, or informative, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and following us on social media. And also, please consider subscribing on Odyssey or Rumble to ensure uninterrupted access.